Brooklyn Beckham, the eldest son of football legend David Beckham and fashion designer Victoria Beckham, has once again found himself in the glare of public attention, not because of his career choices or social media ventures, but because of the ongoing scrutiny surrounding his marriage to Nicola Peltz. What was supposed to be a joyful celebration of love, marked by a vow renewal ceremony, has instead stirred a wave of criticism and speculation, particularly due to the absence of his parents and wider family from the guest list. The narrative quickly spiraled in tabloids and across online platforms, framing Nicola as a divisive figure and painting Brooklyn as being caught between loyalty to his wife and his famous family. Sources close to the couple insist that Brooklyn is deeply distressed by how events have been portrayed, emphasizing that his heart breaks whenever Nicola is unfairly criticized. To him, the narrative that Nicola is some kind of manipulative force driving a wedge between him and his parents is both inaccurate and cruel. Those who know the young couple well reveal that Brooklyn believes Nicola is being unfairly cast in the role of a villain, or as one insider put it, painted as a viper. The controversy surrounding the vow renewal guest list did not emerge in a vacuum. For years, speculation has lingered about tensions between Nicola and Victoria, beginning with rumors over Nicola's choice of wedding dress during her first marriage ceremony to Brooklyn. At the time, headlines speculated about disagreements regarding whether Nicola would wear a gown designed by her mother-in-law's fashion house. Ultimately, Nicola chose Valentino, and though both parties attempted to downplay any conflict, the gossip industry thrived on feeding the narrative of a strained relationship between the two women. Fast forward to the renewal ceremony, and the absence of the Beckhams became fuel for those who already believed the relationship between Nicola and her husband's family was complicated. Critics quickly suggested that Nicola deliberately excluded David, Victoria, and the rest of the Beckham clan, with some going so far as to accuse her of seeking to isolate Brooklyn from his family. In this storm of speculation, Brooklyn's protective instincts have risen to the forefront. Friends note that his love for Nicola is unwavering, and that he will not stand by silently while she is maligned in the public eye. Brooklyn's decision to defend his wife is not simply about responding to gossip. It reflects a broader pattern in his life, where he has sought to define himself outside the shadow of his famous parents. Growing up as the firstborn of one of the most iconic couples in global culture was never going to be easy. Brooklyn's childhood was lived under the camera's gaze, from the football sidelines where David played, to the fashion shows where Victoria built her career as a designer. As a young man, Brooklyn explored photography, cooking, and social media as possible career paths, each one inevitably met with comparisons to his parents' achievements. In marrying Nicola, Brooklyn seemed to find someone who understood the pressures of fame from a different perspective. As the daughter of billionaire investor Nelson Peltz and model Claudia Hefner Peltz, Nicola too has lived a life where public image and family name come with heavy expectations. Their union, at least from the outside, represented a merging of two dynasties, one rooted in sports and entertainment, the other in wealth and influence. Yet behind the glitz, the couple insists they are simply two young people in love, trying to navigate a world that often misrepresents their intentions. Those close to Brooklyn say the latest criticism has weighed heavily on him. The portrayal of Nicola as calculating or domineering cuts deeply, because in his eyes, she is the opposite, caring, supportive, and unfairly misunderstood. The term viper, used in some accounts, is especially painful, as it reduces her to a caricature of a controlling partner, rather than acknowledging the complexity of their relationship. Friends who have spent time with the couple describe Nicola as warm and deeply committed to Brooklyn's happiness. They insist that the narrative of her creating a rift between him and his family is largely media-driven, built on small incidents blown out of proportion. Brooklyn himself has openly acknowledged in past interviews that he is happiest when with Nicola, and that she is his closest confidant. To him, defending her publicly is not just a matter of loyalty but of setting the record straight against what he sees as unfair attacks. The vow renewal itself, though overshadowed in the press by who wasn't there, was described by attendees as a heartfelt and emotional occasion. The couple wanted to celebrate their love once again, surrounded by close friends and chosen family, in an environment that felt intimate rather than dominated by spectacle. Those who were present recall moments of sincerity, personal vows, tender speeches, and a sense of unity among those gathered. To Brooklyn and Nicola, the absence of certain relatives was not intended as an insult but as part of their desire to craft the day according to their vision. However, in the world of celebrity culture, every guest list becomes a political statement, and every omission is interpreted as deliberate. The speculation surrounding the Beckhams' absence was inevitable, yet sources close to Brooklyn stress that he does not want the public to believe there is a definitive break between his wife and his family. Instead, he wants the focus to remain on his marriage and the love that continues to bind him and Nicola together. Still, it is undeniable that Brooklyn and Nicola's relationship has become a lightning rod for public fascination. Social media platforms dissect their every move, from their coordinated outfits to their joint interviews. Supporters admire their dedication to each other, often labeling them as modern icons of young love, while critics accuse them of courting attention and exaggerating their romance for publicity. For Brooklyn, the polarized reactions are difficult to reconcile, especially when Nicola is cast in such a negative light. He has reportedly confided to friends that the most painful part of fame is not what people say about him, but what they say about his wife. His instinct is always to protect her, to remind the world that she is more than the rumors, and to stand beside her in public even when private moments of doubt inevitably arise. Those who know him best suggest that this protectiveness stems not just from love, but also from his own lifelong struggle with public perception. Having grown up surrounded by tabloid stories about his parents, he is acutely aware of how easily narratives can be spun and how long they can linger. Observers point out that the Beckham family, despite their global fame, has often been careful to maintain a polished public image. David and Victoria have built brands that rely on aspirational ideals, discipline, glamour, sophistication, and family unity. Brooklyn, by contrast, is still forging his own path, sometimes clashing with the expectations that come from being a Beckham. His marriage to Nicola has, in many ways, highlighted this generational shift. Where his parents carefully curate their image, Brooklyn and Nicola appear more open, frequently sharing candid glimpses of their life on social media. This openness, however, comes at a cost, as it invites more scrutiny and makes them easier targets for speculation. The tension between the traditional Beckham brand and the more spontaneous approach of Brooklyn and Nicola may explain, in part, why public narratives about family conflict have gained so much traction. Regardless of the underlying truth, the contrast between the Beckham legacy and Brooklyn's choices makes for irresistible drama in the media's eyes. Friends close to Brooklyn insist that despite the noise, his relationship with Nicola remains his top priority. He often tells those around him that she is his partner in every sense of the word, someone who shares his dreams, frustrations, and sense of humor. Far from being a wedge between him and his family, Nicola is portrayed by insiders as the anchor that keeps him grounded amid chaos. She is described as someone who encourages him, supports his ambitions, and values the sanctity of their marriage. For Brooklyn, love is not just about grand gestures but about daily affirmations, and Nicola's presence in his life is a constant source of reassurance. To hear him tell it, defending her is not an obligation but a natural extension of their bond. Ultimately, the story of Brooklyn Beckham and Nicola Peltz is one that reflects broader themes of fame, family, and identity. The vow renewal controversy may fade in time, but the underlying issues it highlights, media fascination with celebrity families, the pressures of public scrutiny, and the challenges of navigating personal relationships in the spotlight, will likely persist. For now, Brooklyn remains steadfast in his commitment to his wife, determined to counter the narrative that casts her in a negative light. His message, both to critics and to supporters, is clear: Nicola is not the villain of this story, but his partner, his love, and the person he has chosen to share his life with. In defending her, Brooklyn is not only protecting Nicola but also asserting his own independence, carving out a space where their love can exist on their terms, free from the distortions of external judgment.